Now, we're going to dive into something that we talk about a lot here: scams, finesses, and lawsuit. And a well known producer who was very popular in the what I would say what late 90s, early 2000s with Rough Riders, Swizz Beatz had a lawsuit filed. It's alleged that he received a little over $7 million in embezzled funds from a really big time scam, maybe the biggest white collar scam that we have ever seen globally, the 1MDB scam, related to monies taken that were supposed to be used to build and bolster the Malaysian economy. Now, I'm not going to go in a deep dive into that because I found a great video that explains it briefly. So let's take a look at what that is. Then we're going to dive in and talk about this lawsuit that Swizz Beatz has.
The 1MDB scandal is one of the biggest alleged white-collar crimes ever. Investigators say it involves at least 10 countries, from North America to the Middle East to Asia. It also allegedly includes New York and Beverly Hills real estate, Monet and Van Gogh artworks, Las Vegas gambling, and the funding of Martin Scorsese's The Wolf of Wall Street. It allegedly started soon after Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak set up 1MDB in 2009 to develop the country's economy. The US Justice Department alleges the fraud had three main phases. In 2009, 1MDB entered a joint venture with a private Saudi oil company. Malaysia pledged funds to the venture. Prosecutors say more than $1 billion was diverted to a Swiss bank account controlled by Malaysian financier Jolo. The money was also allegedly used by Mr. Low and others to buy a Beverly Hills hotel, a private jet, and more than $25 million for casinos. In 2012, 1MDB issued $3.5 billion in bonds through Goldman Sachs. Prosecutors say about $1.4 billion of that was diverted to a Swiss bank account belonging to a British Virgin Islands entity. It was set up by Middle Eastern businessman Kadim Al-Khabazi and an employee. The money was allegedly used to buy real estate, finance the Wolf of Wall Street, and fund other spending benefiting Mr. Al-Khabazi, Mr. Low, and Riza Aziz, the Malaysian Prime Minister's stepson. In 2013, 1MDB issued $3 billion more in bonds through Goldman Sachs. Prosecutors say more than $1.2 billion of that was diverted to a Singapore bank account held by a British Virgin Islands entity allegedly controlled by an associate of Mr. Low. Prosecutors allege they used much of that money to buy real estate and art, including works by Claude Monet and Vincent van Gogh. According to Malaysian investigation documents, $680 million of that was also allegedly sent to a personal bank account of Mr. Najib, the Malaysian Prime Minister. Mr. Najib and 1MDB have denied wrongdoing and pledged to cooperate with investigations. Malaysia's Attorney General cleared Mr. Najib of wrongdoing and said money sent to his account was a legal donation from Saudi Arabia and that most was returned. Mrs. Low and Aziz have denied wrongdoing. Mr. Aziz's film company, Red Granite Pictures, has said it has no reason to believe the source of its financing was irregular. Mr. Al-Khabazi, who is being detained by Abu Dhabi authorities in connection to its investigations into 1MDB-related affairs, hasn't commented. Goldman Sachs says it did nothing wrong.
Okay, now that we know what the 1MDB scandal or scam finesse is, we're going to focus on Mr. Low. Mr. Low is interesting because he has a lot of documentaries out. There are a few on Netflix that I've watched. But long story short, a lot of times when people have money, it doesn't make a difference if it's legally or illegally. People like being in your atmosphere. It's the same reason that Big Meats and the Black Mafia family hung out with a lot of celebrities. It's the same reason why legitimate multimillionaires hang out with celebrities. People want to kind of be in your atmosphere, and Mr. Low was no different. As we see that Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie Wolf of Wall Street was purportedly funded by illegal revenue. So let's dive into what is going on with Swizz Beatz, how he allegedly got this money, and what is his potential civil liability for probably having to pay this money back. Let's go ahead and dive in. Swizz Beatz has been accused of receiving $7.3 million in stolen funds connected to the One Malaysia Development Bernard scandal. Now, let's go ahead and read about it. According to reports, Swizz Beatz money is looking funny. The famed producer versus co-founder and loving husband to Alicia Keys has supposedly been named in an international fraud scandal. Based on the lawsuit filing obtained by All Hip Hop, Swizz Beatz received a whopping sum of 7.3 million in stolen funds connected with the 1MDB scam. In the paperwork, it's alleged that Swizz Beatz, real name Cassine Dean, was tied back to Mr. Lowe as far back as the 2010s. As the 1MDB fraud was underway, Mr. Lowe became a well-known figure in Hollywood and developed a reputation as a businessman with deep pockets and a penchant for hosting lavish, star-studded parties and group vacations. Read the suit. Throughout the early 2010s, Lowe befriended many U.S. celebrities, including Dean and his wife Alicia Keys. Between September 21, 2012 and September 4th, 2014, Mr. Lowe and Eric Tan caused the debtors to transfer 7.3 million to defendants, and the same time period, the debtors did not receive any money back from the defendants or any consideration for the defendants in exchange for the fraudulent transfers. The breakdown of funds supposedly sent to Dean include a $1.5 million payment to Swizz Beatz Production Inc. in September 2012, as well as a $1 million, then additional 800 transfer deployed in October of 2012 by Allison Chance. In addition to that, Dean's Monza Studio is accused of receiving $800,000 in November 2013 and $1 million in December 2013 from Affinity, sent $800,000 to Swizz Beatz Monza Studio in November 2013 and $1 million in December 2013. Outside of that, the filing alleges that Dean was personally sent $500,000 in June 14th, $300,000 in July 2014, and $1.4 million in September 2014. Now, liquidators are seeking damages in the amount of $3.1 million from Swizz Beatz Production, $1.8 million from Monza Studios, and then $2.2 million from Dean himself. The filer is also demanding that Dean cover attorney fees and court costs. Swizz Beatz has not yet addressed the lawsuit. In April 2023, Pras Michel of hip-hop trio Fuji was found guilty of several counts of money laundering in connection with the scandal. Despite his conviction, Michel maintains his innocence. So I looked at the complaint. Initially, I thought, you know what, let's take a deep dive and take a look at the complaint. But I'm going to just be honest, the complaint wasn't entertaining. It wasn't something that, I know that my viewers, the community, you all normally like to deep dive in. So I thought reading the article was the best. The long story short here, just looking at the allegations in the complaint. Now, we don't know what Swizz Beatz answer is going to say, but looking at the allegations in the complaint, it appears that they have facts that substantiate that a transfer was made from the persons who had the illegally gotten gains through by way of a bogus business to Swizz Beatz, some of his companies, and some other vehicles that he had access to control those money to. The big kicker here for Swizz Beatz is going to be if there was any consideration. Now, what is consideration? This for that. If this guy just transferred the money to Swizz Beatz just because they was cool as hell, that's going to be really problematic. But it'll be maybe a better case for Swizz Beatz if those funds were transferred for some legitimate reason. Did he perform a concert? Did he provide some type of good or service? Now, it still doesn't negate that the fact that the original monies received are potentially fraudulent or were obtained illegally. But if you can show some consideration, it could potentially strengthen his argument in this lawsuit. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Hey, at the end of the day, when you got bread, whether you a D-boy, a finance finesser, or a legitimate CEO, people want to be in your circle. They want to be around you. And that's just kind of the name of the game. That's how it goes. And generally, if we're talking about potential criminal exposure, it's always a bad look to receive anything that you know or is presumed to believe stolen or obtained illegally. It's not a good look. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. And if you like this video, check out the content on the screen.